access granted.
Sup, bitch? Or as we say in Ukraine, zdorowenki buli. Alright, let's get down to business. In today's video we are going to go through the essence of testing. Not just in IT, but quite possibly in any field of activity. Now, first and foremost, everything I preach is either taken from a personal experience or my sick fantasy. So don't take it personally, because I love you deep down in my empty soul. Just kidding. I want to ensure you that the IT sphere is not something special for the chosen ones, as many think. And it's also not something new, contrary to, many popular opinions. It's been here for a while already. Probably the main thing you gotta understand is that about 95% abstract. Except for the hardware, of course. And it represents an abstract description or, a superset to any real world, let's say, physical activity. So, take a look around you. You'll probably find some stuff. And each piece of that stuff, at some moment, was planned, manufactured or developed, thoroughly tested, at least I think it was, and released for your personal use. Of course, there was much more than that, like sales, marketing, delivery, but we'll just leave it out for now, as it's been off topic. Every piece of electronics, gadgets, household equipment, vehicles, the food you eat, the bed you sleep on, the transportation you use, all of it had to be tested in order for your safety and easy usage. Same applies to software. All of its functionality had to be tested to ensure that it works properly before you click on it or tap on it or interact with it in any other way. So that you don't enrage where the screen goes black or blue or whatever else happens. Which means that there are people working behind the scenes for each and every product. And sometimes, God, they work very, very hard to deliver the best thing for you. So you gotta keep that in mind before you pour or throw your rage and negativity onto somebody who doesn't really deserve that. There's tons of misfortunate mistakes which can be made during, any stage of product evolution and life cycle. And it's not always about the guys that actually make it. Sometimes management just fucks up and fucks up real hard. In my professional experience, like 85% of the critical cases had the root cause within the management, but these motherfuckers never admit their own mistakes. That's the fucking problem number one with the IT in general. It consists of lots of fucking parasites, that's my opinion, and a very, very small percent of really adequate people who really want to make things better for everybody else with their product or service they're making. Believe me, I had lots and lots and lots of bad experiences throughout my career so far, where I've encountered incompetency and toxic managerial behavior. But we're gonna speak about that in future videos. I really want to go through some of the cases that I've been through, without calling names of course, but this is important and you gotta keep that in mind, because if you wanna join this sphere, you gotta keep that in mind that it's always about the people. No matter what the sphere is, it's always about the people. It's always about who's in charge. But it's also very important that you do not overtake what's been given to you. You don't take it for granted, and you do not express your toxicity upon other people. This is what many people in managerial positions in the IT sphere, specifically in Ukrainian companies, tend to forget. So yeah, we're gonna go through that shit. But let's continue with this topic, shall we? If you're one of those hardworking people that I've been speaking about just recently, good for you. You know the drill. But if you want to become such, you're probably asking yourself a question: how do I do that? That's a good one. And there is no better way to start rather than figuring out where you'd like to be involved in real life. Why? Because, as I've already said, the IT is just a superset of any material, or should I say physical 3D world activity. Almost any project represents a system of actions and processes which describe the real world activity in one way or another. And if you spot a project and you see, you can just figure out what ties does it have to the real 3D world, then it's most likely a fucking scam. And you should turn around and walk away from that shit and never regret that. Alright? You feel me, yo? You feel me, bitch? shit! All of it is pixels. So just search for the pixels that actually give some fucking worth and value to the real world, to your end users, clients, maybe even to yourself, the one that you're interested in, the one that you're really interested in. You will naturally feel that. That is the least you can do to start this journey. So it's basically a physical process code description, or representation if you will, thus providing information about this in the form of sandbox, modifying which can really suit your needs. It's something like, you know, there is a game on Steam which is called, I guess, the Universe Sandbox. And it allows you actually, you know, to simulate different types of events, I guess in the solar system or something like that. You know, planets collision, asteroids, all that shit. So basically, like in almost in any IT project, it's the same. It's some kind of an environment where you set up the service you're gonna use, and it's got a bunch of settings, and you just play around with those settings and see what comes out of it. But with that being said, testing, like personally for me, testing is also a process of destruction. So as much of a paradox as it may sound, you really gotta hate your fucking job in order to do it well, because you want to destroy everything the other guys create. So developers create, testers destroy, they find the flaws. They hate the app they are working with because they're working with this app on a daily basis, and they just fucking hate the same shit, the same fucking routine they're encountering day after day after day. So this is what testing is really about. Well, at least for me, for almost like 9 years, setting this straight. You have to hate the product you're working with in order to destroy it, because this process of destruction really uncovers all the flaws in the product, which in return gives the possibility for the stakeholders, developers and management to make it better by correcting the flaws that you find. So QA is a fucking terminator to some extent. Maybe that's why many people don't really understand what's the role of QA on a project, and many think that we're just, you know, doing this monkey testing, clicking buttons and shit. Nah, fuck off. It's not like that. Never was, never will be. The true QA just loves to destroy things. Oh, believe me, I do. Sometimes. But not all times. Alright, so let's get back to the abstract representation of the, you know, real world activities. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples to back me up. So let's take taxi services. In the physical world, there is a driver, a vehicle, driver's services, a route, ride fee, and some feedback, or as I say, good word about the driver's service quality. In the cyber world, or how the esoterics say, in the fifth dimension, everything translates into the app on your device. And you got some more convenient stuff on top of that, such as navigation. I mean, like Google Maps and shit, or some custom service for the navigation, public ratings, and various payment methods, which, you know, basically lets you track the route in real time. Also see where the driver is. We got such services in Ukraine. I'm not gonna speak about, you know, the most famous services such as Uber, or in Ukraine we got the On Taxi or the Uklon. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I think you get the point. Another example is household payments and bills. We all live somewhere, except for the ones who don't, so you gotta pay your fucking bills. And you know, some 20 or 30 years ago I might have gone to the bank or to the utility service provider with a bunch of papers, filling lots of shitty blanks, wasting tons of time in the process. And other services which allow you to pay your bills straight out of the phone, so you can enjoy the rest of your day. Jesus Christ. You can apply this approach everywhere. The key thing is that you have to find such an activity that resonates with you, where you see value for others. I mean real world value, not just some theoretical blah blah like crypto or NFTs, which is like air trying to sell you air for the real fucking money. What kind of bullshit world we're living in? Sometimes I really don't understand that. But that's a topic for another video. Let's say finding a real world activity is difficult for you. Then I would suggest revising, looking back at your past experiences. Where have you been working? What spheres are you familiar with? If you were, let's say, a lawyer, then you gotta search for some legislation related project, I guess. If you were a construction engineer, you may search for projects related to the software for the construction machines, or, you know, some kind of Internet of Things domain. And if you are or were selling the financial securities of any type, just go straight to the fintech domain. You get the point. I think that's the easiest way to jump in. So that's what testing is all about. Finding the niche where you can see or feel or sense value, not just for yourself, but for others as well. And jumping in so you can deliver a top-notch quality product. And you also must be willing to destroy things and not feel guilty about it. Because as I've mentioned, testing is about destruction in many ways. You know, let the others do their creative work. Let the designers draw their mock-ups. Let developers write their code and supreme logic constructs. Let managers be managers, I don't know. Everybody on your project, on your team has to understand that testing is about destruction. Testing is about destroying, finding the defects while destroying things. It's not pretty, it never was, and I don't think it ever will be pretty. If you turn things inside out and you see how they look from the inside, I guess Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails in one of his songs, he said that things not always pretty from the inside. But that's just the way of life and the way of this profession. So all other stuff like setting up the processes, figuring out which testing techniques to use, comparing actual and expected outcomes, all that stuff goes right after you have answered the one and only question for yourself. What the heck do I actually love? Remember, their benefit is your benefit. That's a universal law of the energy exchange. I truly hope you find your answers as soon as possible. But still, we're gonna proceed with the course. See you around. Alex signing off for now. Kudos. Peace.
Access denied.